Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mantalk.ke. Today is the first time we're having guests in the London studio, and we started on a high. It's going to be hard to come after this. We're so gassed and so honoured to have two incredible people. Oscar, I'm going to let you do the honours, man, because I'm not okay.
Let me tell you guys, I recently attended a wedding that I've just been chatting about through a YouTube page, and it's one of the most beautiful weddings I've ever seen, and that wedding was with Lydia Dinga as the incredible bride, and the fantastic, in Swahili we say Bwana, Bwana Damini.
I'll take that.
Inaugurated.
Thank you so much for pulling up to the studio.
Thank you for having us. This place is amazing, and we're just so excited to be here. The energy is
it's proper.
12 out of 10.
Proper.
Yeah, welcome to Kenya. This is our little Kenyan studio.
The live
Shout out to Nigeria. though.
Shout out to Nigeria in the back.
We're here representing.
Represented.
Yeah,
Of
really
course.
excited. And this segment, we usually have a segment where we talk about love.
Yeah.
And me and Eli have suffered through love in the plus 254.
My goodness. Yeah.
Where we've had Kenyan artists and Kenyan lovers come and tell us about their journey when it comes to love.
Yeah.
So now that we are here,
Yes.
in Nairobi, I'm famously on a journey to find love.
I'm not laughing, I'm supporting.
That's just how you express yourself.
Yes.
And I'd like to learn from my two fellow Africans from the plus 44 about what love is.
Yes.
So this episode is titled Love in the Plus 44.
For the first
Oh, I
time.
like that.
Or as we're going to call it, best case scenario.
Yeah, best case scenario.
You picked up on the vowels.
If you know, you know.
Do you know that I wrote my vowels like, I'm talking 3 hours before the wedding?
No.
Yeah, we both wrote our vows.
You're joking.
I wrote my vows like the night before as well. Yeah,
You guys are wordsmiths. Yo, the way I was like, no, let me just pause that, just dab, and we're back in. Like, it was
I wrote my vows 3 hours before the wedding, and my sister had to tell me to get to bed. She was like, Lydia, you have to sleep. You're getting married tomorrow. I was like, no, I'm all right. Like, no, you're getting married tomorrow. You have to go to bed. So, I literally wrote this in 3 hours. So
But Lydia, were you in your wedding? You were crying the whole time.
I cried. The funny thing is that when you see the video, it's funny because when we were editing it, we were like, the editor was like, oh, is it too much? He thought that maybe there was too much video of me crying, and I'm like, no, I cried the whole day. Like, there's no, you captured the wedding, and so you captured me crying. It was a lot. It was so emotional. It was like, it was just a lot of emotion in one day. Literally. And it's ironic because I'm not someone who'd even dreamt about being married. So like the day was happening and it was like happening to us. And it was like, it's a good thing that we made a pact together. I don't know, Damini, you can talk a little bit more about it. But we made a pact to like stay together and to be very much present with each other on that day because it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
They say weddings are for other people, right?
No, but not even in the fact that it was for other people, but more that it was just emotionally like trying to like contain all of that, process everyone being there for you, like your family, your friends, people you haven't seen in ages, like the commitment of the day, all of it. It's like, this is really it. Like,
I can imagine.
Boy, you watch other people's wedding videos, but then like, this is not a video. This is now.
It's like you've
by your video, please. Let's not. Don't say other people. Hey, your video was a bit.
It was proper.
I was so involved. Damini, how was it on the day? Like, how did you feel?
I don't know. Like I was excited. Like we've been planning this, so like you know you're building up to the moment. Yeah. On the day, I think I was trying to capture it as much as possible. Like I always told Lydia from before the wedding, like as a man, like I didn't want to know too much about what was happening on the day. Not because, well, more so just because I didn't want to know if things went wrong. Right. Does that make any sense? Yeah. Because I really wanted to be in the moment. Do you get where I'm coming from? So I don't want to know that something was supposed to be green and it's yellow. Do you get what I'm saying? But obviously, I'm not the one who's got this whole vision for the wedding. So my experience and Lydia's experience in terms of, I didn't want to know. Lydia wants to plan it. Do you get what
I'm trying to know everything.
Every detail.
Yeah.
But on the day itself, like honestly, like it was great. Like it was one, like I'm Nigerian, so I've been to so many weddings. Like I've been to so many weddings. Like
every other week.
I've been to so many weddings, innit? So like for it to be my wedding and it's me, it just felt a bit different. But yeah, no, it was just a great experience, man. It was just a great experience, and it was like, you know, Lydia and I, like we had this thing throughout the day that it was like, aside from everything going on, it's about us. And it's really funny because there's one moment where everybody else wouldn't know this, but obviously we know it. There's one moment in one of the videos, I can see the video in my mind now, where it's slow-mo. Yeah, we're outside, it's in slow-mo.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chaos going on behind us. And I'm doing this, my arm's moving like this, yeah? And I'm literally saying to Lydia, like, all this fanfare that's going on, it's about you and
I'm
I.
looking him dead in the eye. It's like the whole time it was just me and him. And it's like every so often we'd like peep into the chaos. And be like, oh,
exactly.
wow.
But it was almost like everything else was going on. Well, as much as possible, it was like, you know what? All of this is happening because on the day you're just in the middle of it. Like,
exactly.
On the day, it's like, do you remember they had the event team had like microphones and they'd be like, who's got
radios
the bride in the groom? We've got the bride in the groom. Okay, bride and groom needs to come upstairs. Like you
shout out to Sandra. East African Massive.
Oh my god! Shout out to Sanyu. Shout out to Sandra.
East African Massive as well.
Oh, it's the whole East African.
Yes, we had an East African team for the wedding. My best man is Ugandan.
Yeah,
his wife is Ugandan.
Yeah.
And then
she
she was our wedding planner.
Yeah.
And then
wedding
all
coordinator.
her girls, the wedding coordinators.
Was the best man there was this bald guy.
George.
Bald guy. George.
That's George.
That was
George.
him. The guy had buzz. I didn't even know he was a poet. Now I'm not surprised.
Do you know what? He did a little poem for us for the wedding. I think he even made it on the wedding.
Yeah, the video didn't even have the full thing in.
Yo, that thing was massive.
George had like a bit more of a poem in it. I
can imagine. I love
I think we need to share with them the full hour long. I think they really enjoy it.
Yeah, you need to.
we just that snippet, we loved it. Gave us
no,
emotion.
to you two personally, not to online.
Exclusive content, guys. This is how you do it. Start a podcast.
Come on.
Start a podcast.
Listening session.
Oh my God, like, because I remember that moment when George the poet was like giving his poem and like actually he put us all in frame. Like the whole situation was in context, and I was sitting down and I was like, man, I was like, this is the best it can possibly get. This is really
that's beautiful.
Best case scenario.
So
you guys have done really well, and thanks so much for sharing that with us.
It's all by the grace of God, honestly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been incredible. So I want to jump into the first question. So Mantalk was specifically designed to like change the narrative around Black and African men, and it's evolved into this thing that now includes other cultures and other people and other cultural contexts that's around being African.
Sure.
And the first question I have is for my good man, Mr. Damini. I just wanted to know, what's the most positive thing that you think about being a man? When you look at yourself, what's the best thing about you being a man?
About me personally, or about being a man full stop?
You as an individual,
personally.
Yeah.
Big man Damini.
Man like dance.
Man like dance.
The best thing, I mean, for me, I'd probably say it's just, I don't know so much about best thing, but it's responsibility. Like there's just a responsibility to being a man, to be being myself. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it, but I carry myself with responsibility. Like I'm always conscious of that. I'm conscious of the things I say, the things I do, all these different things, because I always feel like I have a responsibility, whether that's to my family, whether that's to my community, whether that's to my wife, my in-laws, my friends. I guess I live with that, and that is I guess in terms of the best thing, you know, I have a responsibility to make my life the best I can make it, if that makes any sense.
Facts.
And it's funny, I'm in my 30s, I'm 32, but I just turned 32. But especially as I'm getting to this age, I'm really thinking about how to plan out my life, if that makes any sense. And I have the responsibility to do that. Do you get what I'm saying? And I know the things that I think and the way that I feel and all that type of stuff has the ability to manifest into real life. So I'm excited about that responsibility, if that makes any sense. I'm excited about the future.
Man like dams.
Yeah, man like that. I like that you thrive from it, because a lot of the time in society, that kind of responsibility that's put on us, people can break under it rather than thrive from it. So it sounds like you embrace it and you love it, and through that you're able to even like express yourself through showing responsibility. Because people talk about, you know, love languages, acts of service, etc. But it's sounding like your way of expressing myself as a man is taking on those roles. In terms of roles and masculinity, our podcast is very much geared towards trying to be the yang to a lot of like toxic things that are out there online about men in 2023, in 2022, right? So as much as we ask the question to you, we also want to ask you as well, Lydia.
Yeah.
Because we think the best way to dispel any of that negativity online is to have women actually talking positively about men, because sometimes we don't get our flowers enough, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'd love to know from your part. We really don't. We really
That's
don't.
techie still.
Let's
We
take
really
that.
don't. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, carry on.
So we're trying to give some. We're florists. We're florists.
We evangelists and florists.
Evangelists and florists. So I want to know, in your life growing up and in your life now, like what's the one positive trait that you enjoy about the men in your life, from your father, from your husband, etc.
Support. Support. I love, like, one thing I've always said, like, my dad, my confidence comes a lot from my dad. My dad has always been like, you are it. Like,
Yeah.
before the it girl,
Yeah.
my dad told me
He was
I was the
preaching
it girl.
that.
Like, he was preaching that. And I
Yeah.
think it's a lot because my dad's a teacher. So he's always been, he's very aware of how kids are. He's very aware, especially when we moved to the UK from Kenya. I was different. I was like starkly different. We moved to a town where it was like, we were the only black family out of 5. There's like 5 black families in the whole of the town.
I feel you.
A whole entire town. So confidence was something that was really important for my dad to ingrain in me.
Yeah.
And then also, confidence, that was support. Like, he's supporting me to become a better version of myself,
Yeah, yeah.
And then meeting my amazing husband, he supports me in everything. Like, from the moment, it's ironic because when we first met, Damini wasn't the biggest fan. I don't know, I'm snitching on you.
Biggest fan? What?
He wasn't the biggest fan
not
of,
of her,
not of
but-
me,
yeah.
but
Oh,
of
I was gonna say.
creators, of influencers, of that title.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
like literally when we met, he actually walked past me as I was being very myself. Like,
Yeah,
you guys who've met me today, I always have a camera. I'm
Everywhere,
always doing
everywhere.
a lot. I'm always
Yeah.
like busy. I'm very like alive,
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
was busy living on that moment he saw me. The very first time he saw me, I was like flicking my hair, taking
Yeah.
a picture, being Lydia, like truly.
Yeah.
And he said, "This is the one."
Yes.
No, ironically, babe, what did you say? Maybe you can tell us. What did you?
Like, this girl's so extra. Like, why is she doing so much? Like, you're getting in the way of everyone, flicking your hair everywhere. Like,
And then look at that. 3 years later, married.
Come on.
Look.
Gotcha.
Is that I'll answer with that.
Get him when you can.
Yeah.
But no, he has always been so supportive. Like, he supports me so much, and he like, again, reaffirms my confidence, reaffirms me, especially when I have to do a lot of like public speaking. I get very nervous. People don't. I guess my subscribers, people who follow me, know that I just pretend to be, and I need to pretend to be the version that I want to present as. Does that make sense
Yeah,
in
I
a
hear
way?
you. Yeah,
like
yeah.
when I'm going into a talk or I'm going to a meeting, I'm nervous. Like inside me, I'm looking at my husband like, babe, how am I doing it? How am I doing it? And he's like,
Yeah.
you're doing it because you're great. You're doing it because you can.
Love
You're
that.
doing it because of this, that,
Yeah.
that
Powerful thing.
Yeah.
support. So that's what I'd give the flowers to the men in my life.
Yeah.
For. Like,
Yeah.
support always. Like my brother riding for me. Like my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's probably why this combination blends really well.
Yeah.
Because for him, he's
yeah.
like, responsibility feels like nothing to me.
Yeah.
And for her, it's like support means everything for me. And even in the moment in the wedding that you both just described, which is like, while everything is changing around you, you can still look at each other and find that stability with each other.
Oh, that's so well put.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a podcast.
You might want to subscribe,
Wordsmith.
like, share. But like, I see it now. And like, and to say that was to lead to the next thing. And it's just a very beautiful thing you've said. It's just so beautiful. But to lead to the next thing it's about you, Damini. And I noticed that during the course of the wedding, a lot of your friends were like, man, like, Dams is actually getting married. I can't believe it. Like, I didn't, like, he never had a girlfriend. Can't believe it.
Yeah.
And like, there's a quiet confidence with which you carry yourself. And even it even shows when you watch the content, like, this guy knows who he is.
I
Like,
see.
he's not
I
waiting
see.
for anyone's validation.
Yeah.
Like, he's him. And like, when your dad spoke, he also said, this son of mine, mad responsible. So
Yeah.
it's crazy that there's a consistency with that. And I just wanted to know, where do you get that from? Like, where do you think you get that quality, that quiet confidence, that like, I don't need to prove myself to anyone. I don't need to be, I know myself. I'm happy to be the man I am.
yeah, it's a good question. I think, I don't know, by the grace of God, like, I was thinking in my head, like, all I do is win. So by the
Yeah.
grace of God, like, right from when I was young, like, I was always good at stuff, if that makes any sense. So like, like from primary school, I was in the smart class or whatever. I then went to a really good grammar school. It was like the best school in the country, to be honest.
Nice.
Like so, best non-fee paying school in the country. So I got there, and then funny enough, my best man George, one of my other groomsmen Nathan, we were one of the few. Shout out Fox. We were one of the few black. It was a boys' school. We were one of the few black boys in the school. So, but it's the best school in the country. So, and I give this as an example. Yeah, I was in set 8 out of 8 sets in maths. So literally, top set is the smartest people. Bottom set, everybody in my year got an A star apart from one guy. So
as in everybody in that school is smart. So even if you're in set 8, everybody's getting A stars. They're all dumb smart.
So what are they getting in set 1? Like, what is that?
but you get if they're getting 100% and the people down below are getting 95. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like even in that environment, like even the even when you're not doing well within that environment, it's still outside of that. And I guess to some, and then I left there and went to my uni. I went to LSE, so really good uni. So again,
no, stop.
He just gave a talk actually. He gave a talk to LSE like
a couple
2 days ago.
He just went over. Yes, you're casual.
Yeah, finish that.
Yeah, went to LSE.
Incredible,
easy. Keep going, please.
Well, again, it's all by the grace of God, for real. But I've had lots of things to validate me. Do you get what I'm saying? So now, and from early, I'm a young black man. I grew up in Northwest London. Like I don't look the part. Do you get what I'm saying? I lived in London. Do you get what I'm saying? So I've had to experience being how people perceive me as a black man, whilst also knowing that I'm in the quote unquote elite of this society. And that's something I've never bragged about. It's something, to be honest, I'm learning to value a lot more as I get older, because when I was younger, I didn't value any of it, but I didn't like my school. I didn't really want to go to the uni I went to.
You took it for granted, the amazing things that you were doing, like outside of...
Yeah.
Because it not necessarily wasn't, like, it wasn't where you'd preferred to be.
It's not where, because I've always wanted to do, like, creative stuff. I was making music when I was in school. Yeah. That's me and George and Nathan all made music together. So
you killing it was even...
It's even annoying him.
It was like,
no, but I'm not even saying it like that. But literally, like, I always found, like, throughout uni, I was my ACS president. I was doing bare ACS stuff. I was doing acting. I was just doing everything that outside of my studies. People thought I went to Brunel Uni because I was always there because all my friends went there. So it was like a thing where it was like I saw all this stuff as the almost the distraction. But either way, I guess the point that I'm making is that I've got that confidence because it's constantly validated. You get what I'm saying? So like, I went to a good school, I went to a good uni, I've got a good job, so on and so forth. Like, I don't have anything to prove to anyone. And also, I've spent my life with people thinking of me incorrectly. I don't know how else to put it. Like people assuming things about me or whatever. Whether it's police, whether it's like just regular people, whether it's people on road, like anything. It's like I constantly get that. I'm used to that, and quite frankly, I don't care because, all right, should you ask me the questions, then suddenly I've completely transformed your perception of me. So I don't really care of what your initial perception of me is in the first place, because I kind of feel like once you get to know me again, by the grace of God, there's lots of things to validate who I am. So,
babe, it's even like just to add to that, it's even like down to like in the workplace, physically how you present yourself. Like you are a black man who's got locks on your hair.
I've got locks.
Like
I've got an
people
earring.
already have, and he's got an earring as well. Yeah. People have a perception of what that type of person should be or is, and so when they meet him and they talk to him and they understand him, and they're like, oh whoa, hold on.
Yeah, there's depth. There's more than meets the eye.
I'm the head of a department, right? So it's like I know when I'm used to this. Does that make any sense? I remember in my one of my old jobs, I was the head of a department. Someone thought I was an apprentice. I was talking to me like an apprentice. Honestly, I didn't even care because, quite frankly, all the apprentices are the ones that are looking a bit funky and this, that, and the other. Everyone else is on a suit, or not suit, but it's just not. They're a bit more stiff. And like, to be honest, I like that. I like the fact that I challenge people's perceptions. So I don't because of that, I don't really feel. One, I don't feel the need to jump up and down and say, like,
how do you check your ego? I have to ask, because like I struggle with that. Like that's a personal struggle for me, because I've been in a similar situation with you, where like I've gone to the schools, I've done the thing, but I did it in the Kenyan context, and like I've always had a chip on my shoulder a bit, like where I felt like I have to prove myself. Don't talk to me like that. Things might change really quickly. Like, how do you like check your ego and like make sure that even if people give you like what you like, if people show you value that you know you're not worth, how do you like keep it within yourself?
I mean,
to not react.
Honestly, and you've heard me say this a lot, like throughout since we started. Like, it's all by the grace of God, and I really do mean that. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's a mentality I live by. Like, this is all by the grace of God. Like, it's not. I mean, you know, by the grace of God, He's made me someone who's like a kind of hardworking person or whatever. I just feel like I'm quite diligent, and that's why these things work for me, if that makes any sense. But that's the way God made me. I can't really take a massive credit for that. I don't. Yeah, I see this all as, I literally see this all as like God's. It's a gift. Do you get what I'm saying? So, and in viewing my life that way, I guess I don't. At least for me, I think that mentality humbles me, because it's like it's not really about me. It's not about the things I did. You know, it's by the grace of God that I grew up where I grew up. That had a really good school nearby, and by the grace of God that I passed the test that the first time that allowed me to go in, and it was by the grace of God that all these other things have patterned up that have allowed me to be the person I am today. But it's not like I was intentional with all that stuff. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, quite frankly, up to me, I would have been doing something completely different. So, again, moving in that energy, I guess that just helps to suppress.
Yeah, it sounds like
ego.
such a solid foundation for everything you wanted to go. Like, having that God as the foundation, it seems like it keeps you grounded, and the ego can never really like fluctuate. Because if you always bringing it back to that, you're never taking it as yourself doing it, and then you can be like, if this happens, I'm still in check. If this happens, I'm still in check. And that's, I'm seeing now, I'm understanding now the context of both of you, because even in some of your videos, a lot of the time you're referencing God as well, right? And you're both operating at a place of excellence. You in the digital space, and you, I'm guessing, in the corporate space as well, right? So I want to know, on your part, he's mentioned that his sort of rock is, you know, God, and understanding that his upbringing was not his own. Where do you stay grounded when it comes to achieving lots of success online, having, like, you know, fans that are out there that want to talk to you? How do you stay grounded as Lydia?
By honestly, I think number one, you have to give everything back to God, because it literally isn't. As Damini says, I do my best. That's what I do. What I can do is I do my best, and then I just leave it to God. But besides that, in doing my best, what I say is that I come authentically as me. I always have authenticity is like the biggest thing that I can answer to that question.
Yeah, we've seen that.
By being myself throughout, it allows me to just naturally progress in a way that I'm not pretending to be any more than I am. I'm just showing you this is just what it is. When you meet me, it is exactly just as that. Does that answer the question?
No, 100%. Yeah.
Authenticity.
So basically, authenticity has just been the bedrock of everything you're doing.
It is
online,
and so it allows me to just to move very freely in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
because I'm not pretending to be any more than I am. And I'm not putting on a show, and I'm not trying to create this thing to try and make you feel away. Like, it just is what it is. And so I'm delivering that, and that's why I say the rest is God, because I just do my best.
She does her best when she walks towards that BMW, guys.
Hey, shout out to my friends over at BMW.
But you know what's so crazy? It's like that. Let them know. Let them know.
Hey, Damini.
I'm authentically driving this car.
Thank God the man went to LSE.
You know, it's like there's certain campaigns that come our way, that's when this is for my dad. This is not even for me. This is for my dad. I can be like, Dad, so do you know who I'm working with? And he's like, who? I'm like, BMW. In fact, I don't even tell him. I remember the first time when they sent the first car that they sent me over to like test drive was like a 4x4. And I just FaceTimed my dad whilst I was in the car, and I was like, yeah, Dad. And he's like, what's this? And I'm like, oh, it's just my new car. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm working with BMW. Those are the certain flexes for the parents.
You know how it means.
It's not for anyone. It's for the parents.
Let me tell you, you're Kenyan. Let me let you know now. If there's been doubt, Damini, that the woman you married was Kenyan, she's like, that's not for everyone.
It's not. This one is for my dad. Like, it's for my dad to then put on his WhatsApp to tell his friends for it to be. When I bought my house, guys, let me tell you, this is so funny. But do you remember when BBC got in touch. This is so funny because this is so outside of my dreamland.
Yeah.
But it just adds to the brag for dad because it's like I bought my house. That was a huge achievement. I was so proud of myself. Everybody was proud of me. Like my subscribers. Shout out to all of my subscribers because at that time I've never felt so much love, like literally ever.
Yeah.
It's like it felt like we all bought it because everybody was so invested in it. And with that, my dad. Hold on, I've lost my thought here. Where was I going? I was telling my
the biggest moment when your dad was
With BBC.
BBC called it.
BBC.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we've now bought the house, and somehow BBC Africa want to pick up the story. I literally get an email. BBC Africa's like, we want to do the story on you, on how you bought your house, being a young, like, successful Kenyan in the UK. I said, BBC Africa. Okay, say no more. I didn't tell my dad anything about it. Did the whole thing. It was so hard.
Yeah, it was such
a hard.
stress.
It was the time, the way the time and the opportunity came at a time that it was so difficult
very
to get it done.
inconvenient,
But it was done, and it aired on Kenyan TV. And I sent my dad. First of all, I told him you need to be watching this channel at this time. And he saw me on TV, and that was for my dad. Like, the fact that he then had an article to send to his friends that his daughter with his name, Lydia Dinga,
Read.
on the newspaper, newspaper on national TV. It was for my dad.
Yeah.
It was. So certain things is just for family, but I am so thankful. It's because I'm being myself. That's what I mean. Like authenticity is the thread that has carried me through in everything. Like my channel, even it just being there, like it's my audience following me as for my life. I'm not a particular niche. I'm not travel. I'm not makeup. I'm not any particular thing. I'm a bit of everything. Like it's lifestyle. It's Lydia.
She's like a superhero. You know, she's not a particular thing, but you know when you see it. And I just want us to let's enter that realm of content a little bit. Let's lean in and talk about that journey. And how you've managed to become who you are in terms of this superstar, this incredible personality who gives us so much. Did you want this before? Is this something that you planned to become? Did you visualize yourself as this?
It's so ironic because doing what I do now, like being a content creator full time, this has been my job for the last in June this year will make 5 years. Yeah. I'm even thinking about how I'm celebrating because one thing about me is I love to celebrate. Like give me any excuse. Babe, what does Dot say about us? Dot and
her sister.
Yeah. In regards to all of the anniversaries.
I mean, she just says we just find reasons to celebrate. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago? So
yesterday.
3-year anniversary of going out with each other. So we just went to go eat somewhere.
It's like the date that he asked me to be his girlfriend. Yeah. That to us is mocked as an anniversary because we like to find reasons to celebrate things, and I think I like to look forward to things. Yeah, I've lost my thought again. Look.
What Dot normally says about you guys.
Yeah. Well, it was just that.
That we love to celebrate things.
Celebrate and stuff, yeah.
No, but what was I talking about to get to that in the first place?
If it was always what you wanted to do in terms of being a content creator, and you're celebrating 5 years.
Yeah, celebrating 5 years, and in terms of being a content creator, I never.
That's 5 years full time. Right?
Yeah,
5 years full time. She's been making content.
I've been making content since 2009, so I've been on the platform for a very long time. OG. But 5 years being full time content creator, and before that. I had no desire to work for myself. I can't stress how much. I literally used to say, I'm happy with being someone who works 9 to 5 because it gives me structure. It's I know what I'm going to be doing between these hours, and then after that I can plan my life after. This idea of having your own business, being a boss babe, that was not. I felt like that was not my ministry. I didn't want it.
That's a ministry.
She said,
I really felt like it wasn't my ministry. I didn't want it. So when you ask, is this what I envisioned? Low-key, no.
Yeah.
Literally, the day I quit my job, I didn't mean to quit my job. I didn't. It's all God.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm doing my best, and then I just, at my best, I'm like, God, you take it forward. You know where I'm thinking. You know what I want. You know the things that I dream of. Yeah. I think, if anything, I'm a very highly visual person. I can visualize the style of things that I want. I can visualize the kind of life that I want, but I couldn't have told you how I was going to get to it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because even when I was working 9 to 5, I was like, I'd be on the computer desk after 6 when I'm working late. I'm there at 7:30 and I'm on Rightmove looking at houses, how to buy them. My salary was never going to buy me any of those houses, but I knew exactly what kind of house I wanted. I knew exactly how I wanted it to look. And it was just that's why I say, like, I do the best, and then I leave the little gap, the bridge for God to make it happen. Because there's the things that I want, they're here. Where I am is here. I'm gonna do up until here, and then this.
It's God.
That's God. But I did all this bit. Do you know what I mean? I did all that bit of.
Yeah, you still got a kickstart.
I still got a kickstart, and I did as much as I could, and then I gave it to God because. That's I feel like that's how everything has worked out for me so far, honestly.
Yeah, all these things have been added onto you.
Yeah.
Facts, they have been added onto me. They've all been blessings that I'm so grateful for. But I sometimes I just think, wow, like, that's crazy that's even happened. Like,
God seems to be the thread throughout all of this. That's what I'm picking up.
I'm
it's
even
just
shocked.
The thread throughout all of this.
Do you know what's funny? Like, I wouldn't even call myself religious or anything.
Serious.
That's the irony. But it's like, I guess again, like, I've just been.
Favoured.
Yeah, but I definitely feel like I'm a favoured person. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
but you do give your thanks back, babe.
yeah, no, I'm not saying that I don't. Like, what I'm saying is that I'm not like a religious person.
Right.
Does that make any
you just
sense?
found
like,
your relationship.
It's just I found my relationship with God. And I find God grounds me. If that makes sense.
Can I just say, like, the way they.
No,
the
they
way
finish
she
each other.
validates,
It's beautiful.
You know,
it's
like
beautiful. It's
even me, I'm here, even me, I'm rethinking
I want a
this.
boo.
You want a girlfriend.
You were a gas in the
You're like, the way she's like just like validating him. Even me,
It's
I'm here
beautiful.
on studio. I'm like, hey,
This single life is not it.
this
That's what I'm
single life.
realizing.
Okay, like just to take it back, I just want to say, like, I just find it very beautiful. Like,
Yeah,
that's just I'm a bit overwhelmed by the beauty of your relationship. Like, it's actually standing out.
I think what you're witnessing now is two people that decided to do self-work and then come together after the fact, rather than, figuring it out once they're together. That's my assumption.
But do you know what?
Yeah.
You guys are giving us praise, but I'm going to give it back to my man again.
Serious.
Because he, when I met him, he's the one who put me on therapy, like, for real.
Really?
You talk about self-work?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Babe, do you remember what...
Yeah, no, I mean, like, when we met, I was going to therapy. And it's ironic that you said that, but when we met, I was going to therapy, and literally, I decided to. There wasn't anything like particularly. I didn't feel like there were any particular issues at the time. Yeah, I just noticed that I was seeing around. At the time, I was 28, 29. Yeah. I just turned 29, and so. I was seeing a lot of my friends who had got into relationships, and I felt like there was a lot of baggage that they were taking into their relationships.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it was manifesting in different ways because they never like dealt with addressed whatever was going on.
Yeah.
And I guess like at that time I just by the grace of God I had like that self-awareness at the time where I just felt like, you know what? I don't. It's not when I have a wife that I want to start going through whatever it is, or it's not when I have a child that I want to start going through whatever it is, and then I'll start putting on whatever it is that I'm going through on whatever. So I just felt at the time that I was single, like I was walking a lot, so I could walk to the therapist. Like it was just part of my routine, if that makes any sense. I thought, let me do it. So I did that for 2 years, and that was really good. So when I met Lydia, I was like. I don't know. I was a bit of a therapy evangelist. At the time. I was like, you got to jump on this, just so that we can
be the best versions.
Yeah, we can be the best versions of ourselves. So.
That's a journey that I've also kind of started. But a lot of the time, when someone decides to go to therapy and do self work, it comes on the back of something very either traumatic or a big life moment. How did your decision come to do the self work? Was it just a gradual process where you were learning, you enjoyed self development, and decided to do therapy? Or was it like something happened, you're like, I don't want to be this kind of version of myself? Yeah,
again, like I said, like obviously I'm not going to put anyone on blast, but I just saw in certain other people's situations that it was like, I felt like there were things that they were carrying from like their childhood or things that they were carrying from, and I was just conscious that I didn't want that to happen for myself. And then also, actually, if I'm honest, also part of it was, I even forgot about this. Someone randomly must have asked me. I can't even remember what the context was. But must have asked me when the last time I cried was.
Oh,
and I hadn't cried since I was like 11 or something like that. And it wasn't anything like. And the funny thing is, exactly. Well, completely opposite.
I cannot relate.
But the funny thing is, my dad is he doesn't feel. He doesn't feel a way about showing emotion, right? So I've seen my dad cry. Like he's fine with that. You get what I'm saying? But so I don't even feel like it was a nurture thing as such. But I I was conscious that I hadn't cried in such a long time. And I remember my grandma passed.
Yeah.
And I remember at the funeral going to the, like, you know when you go see the coffin? We went to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Went to see the coffin just before the main funeral and that. And so it was just family. But they let us all go in like one by one so you could have a personal moment.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was like, in fact, when I heard the news, I wasn't emotional about it. In fact, the first thing I thought was, and me and my grandma were quite close, but the first thing I thought was, I was like, maybe I was like 24, 23, 25, it's somewhere in my mid-20s, right? Early to mid-20s. But all I was thinking of was, all right, how do I support mum? How do I support, like, my granddad's going to need a call? Like, I was just thinking very functionally, do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. And even when I then saw my grandma, it didn't come rushing back then either. And the whole time I thought, you know what? It will just be that moment when I get there. Yeah. But even when I got there, I felt sad, but it was almost like it was almost like my brain was just on function mode. Do you get what I'm saying? And so I kind of just, I felt like, again, like I want to ready myself. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I just felt like at the time I had the disposable income, I had the time, like it was convenient. Do you get what I'm saying? So I just felt like, you know, whilst I've got this space to do this, the same way like right now I'm getting chubby, I need to start hitting gym again. Like, but the reason why I've not been going to the gym is because I've just been so busy at work. Yeah. So at that time I had the space, I had the time, and I thought, you know what, let me invest in this, and I found it really helpful.
What's the biggest discovery from therapy? Because we're evangelists. I started 6 months ago. Oh, yeah. You did it a while back, and you've mentioned it on your channel that and you even showed yourself like in the car doing therapy sessions. I want to find out from both of you what your biggest discovery has been after therapy, by yourself.
For me, it was that I was avoiding. I felt what I realized was that I was avoiding things that were going to make me emotional. And I guess the perspective it came from was just, again, being from London, like being from Northwest, like just honestly was that if you're too emotional, that can get you killed, literally. Like as in like, if you get angry in a situation and you say the wrong thing or you do the wrong thing, like you know, I remember as a kid, like I used to, and it's sad now. Like I said, I'm 32. I've forgotten now, but I used to like know all the names, all the like remember exactly when everyone had died and stuff like that. Like just people who got stabbed or bricked or just any sort of madness has happened. And so in general, I think at least this was the discovery that we came to some extent, was that I was shutting off my emotions to some extent because I felt like when you get emotional, that's when you get into trouble. Yeah. And that's how I'd compartmentalized things. And so I just didn't allow it to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've heard somebody say that the problem with men sometimes is that because we've not had the processing from my emotion to vocalizing what I'm feeling, it just goes straight into anger and aggression. Like we don't have that thing where I'm actually upset, let me let it out through tears. It's like, no, let me pent it up and then release it through anger or something aggressive. So I'm glad that you managed to catch that. Like,
I mean, basically I just, and you know what, aside from that as well, it was very much like I said, the school I went to, the uni I went to, like I just learnt to be very compartmentalized because, as they say, like code switching, like I had to, this is the code for school, this is the code when I'm on the roads, this is the code when I'm like making music, this is the code when I'm in church. So it was almost like I just learnt to compartmentalize a lot of stuff. And you know, feelings are free, they move around, you get what I'm saying, they move from room to room.
Exactly.
Whereas the way I was operating was very much like this box, this box, that box. So as I've learnt to kind of open things up, if that makes any sense, that's made me more of a I guess emotional person.
And you've explained so much as an African, because that's something I notice in the trains, like you know, like especially people of color, very calm, very like kept to themselves. A lot, not when you compare it with Africa back home, everyone's living freely because they're not thinking too much about things like violence, stabbings back home in Kenya. But then when you've explained that thing where there's code switching, there's a code for everywhere. It's like whenever I see someone at work who's a person of color, it's like I'm meeting a completely different person.
Very different person. And what they actually are.
I've not seen that before. And now that you've said it, code switching. I always used to hear it in movies and hear it in books. But
you have to. It's like for survival, literally. You have to code switch to survive because you already stand out by just being black as it is. Do you know what I mean? And you stand out even by being a black man. Like there's already stereotypes against you. So you have to really almost like have like a version of you that
I mean, for real though, like in my perspective, I mean, you're completely right, but like just to make it real is that I was making grime music, which is street music, for want of a better term, and I'm going to a grammar school. Yeah. So I'm living two different worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like just frankly, when I'm in the studio, when I'm with the man, then when whatever, I'm speaking slang. I'm just a whole different person. Yeah. And then in school with the man, like with George and Nathan, my grooves, which is why we're still tight till today. Exactly. And a lot of the guys that you'd have seen in the video and that, well, not a lot, a few of the guys that you've seen in the video are my friends from school. That was my little safe haven where I could be what I felt was myself. Yeah. And then school is where I have to be front facing. Do you get what I'm saying? And to be honest, I've just lived my life like that to some extent, where I've just got all these different compartments, but I don't like it. Yeah. And I remember actually one of my first jobs, I hated it. I was working in the city, like in financial services, and one of my line managers must have said something. Must have said, she basically said she clocked that I was code switching, and it just bugged me. Because she was like, how apparently when I was on the phone, like I had a slightly different accent or whatever. And what bugged me was the fact that I didn't realise I was code switching. Does that make any sense? Yeah. Like, it's not a conscious thing anymore. Exactly. I just do. And it's funny, even like Lydia was saying, I did a talk at my old uni at LSE a few days ago. And one of my friends responded back saying, British man. Because of the way I was talking, and I remember one of my cousins as well. He was staying around last summer, and he was like, right, like when he heard me speaking in my meetings, he's like, right, like, you just got a whole different voice. Yeah, and it's like I don't even. It's not even conscious to me. Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
Survival,
so
survival mode, guys.
Yeah,
it's survival.
First time I saw code switching was my mum when we were growing up. You know, like a cool mum when she picks up the phone and she tries to do that Brit. Hello. Oh, it used to really, really bug me. Just because we're on therapy as well, you chose to like share that and kind of advocate for it online. What's been your biggest discovery while doing therapy?
Biggest discovery is, I guess for me, it's a lot of coping tools. Like I found literal, actual coping tools because I'm someone who likes practical advice. Like, I like.
What can I do tomorrow?
Tell me what can I do now to make this feel better. Like sometimes because I have a lot of anxiety. Like it's so ironic. I don't know if people know that. Yeah. Would you guys see me and think that I'm anxious or have anxiety?
Like even just meeting you for the first time, very chill, very
She's like, I'm painting my house.
Exactly. But to be fair, I'd say you get very anxious. I wouldn't say that you have a lot of anxiety. Yes. When you get anxious.
When I get anxious, it takes over.
Very overwhelming.
Like, and it's even like in being in therapy, it just takes me back and it explains a lot of things. Like even me being younger. Remember, babe, I was explaining about how I used to do this. When I was younger, I'd get so nervous about something. Let's say I did something bad. My mum was about to tell me off or whatever. I'm about to get caning or something. I don't know. But the thought alone, before it even happened, I'd be so nervous as a child. I'd be doing this.
Serious.
And that's literally me trying to shake off the anxiety from my body. Days. Like, because and now as an adult, it's like, there's times when it's manifested to like me physically shaking. Like, there's times when I'm so anxious that I'm physically shaking. And in going to therapy, I've learned actual coping mechanisms. Like, for example, look at that TV there. When I'm feeling so overwhelmed, so anxious about whatever it may be, like whatever the trigger, regardless of it, look at the TV, Lydia. Breathe in for the length of the time that the long square is there. Breathe out for that. Breathe in for the length. You see the square? Breathing in, it's like breathing techniques. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And it's it sounds silly, but it's so helpful because in that time, my brain is on overdrive and I can't think of anything besides the thing that I'm worrying about. And so even breathing alone, I have to remember to breathe. And when I breathe, Damini again, back to support. Damini's there like, babe, breathe. And I'm there like, deep breathe in. Deep out, in, out, and I literally
you
calm
see
down.
It in the wedding, like going back to the wedding, like one of the first scenes, as Lydia's walking down the aisle, I can see she's getting really riled up, and you can see me going,
Watch it back.
you
You're gonna
gotta
love it.
breathe in it.
I'm telling you,
You gotta relax.
it's too much. Yeah, I can't take it. You've checked out of this podcast.
That is incredible.
No,
Yeah, if you watch it back,
Yeah.
you can literally hear him saying, breathe,
wow.
because I have to remember to breathe because and that's what I mean, podcasting. Therapy really opened up my mind to like, there's so much I've learned about like literally just addressing my inner child, nurturing myself, but also just practical tips that I can actually use that day, right now in this crisis. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And it's ironic because it's coming to help me and others in a way. Like I remember there's this one particular incident. Remember when we went out on a date, and I was in the bathroom and there was a lady. She was crying. I was in the ladies' bathroom and I could hear like, you know, that cry when it's deep from the bottom of your like that bubbly.
Yeah.
She's that wobbly one.
The wobbly. Your intestines are doing
Snot is
something.
coming out and everything. The woman was crying. I literally I couldn't have left the toilet without discovering like, what the hell? Why is she so upset? What's going on?
Yeah.
So she comes out and I was longing out, putting on my lipstick to try and wait for her to come out.
Yeah.
She comes out and she's in the shake. She's by the sink and she's like physically shaking, and then she starts breathing out of control. And she was literally having an actual panic attack. And I was there, and I'm like, I hold her hand. I'm like, babe, look at the mirror. Breathe in for the length of the mirror. Breathe out for the same technique that I learned in therapy. I'm now utilizing it with someone, and she literally went from physically aggressively shaking to calming down, and then when we were leaving the restaurant, she literally winked me over and gave me a little wink, like, like she was better. She felt better. Like she acknowledged the fact that I was there for her in that moment. But it's like therapy has been there for me in so many moments. We're outside of the sessions because it's just giving me practical tips. And many and so much more. Like I've just become a much better person. My sister is a testament to this all the time. Like I've just become a much better person, much more like. I think about others. That sounds silly to say, but not that I didn't think about others before, but I have a different perspective on like life. Have you thought about it from his perspective? Have you thought about it from her perspective? Yeah. Maybe it wasn't made to make you feel that way. Like it's just allowed me perspective, like a wider perspective. And I've just changed as a person. And honestly, babe, like 12 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
It's another one, guys. It's another one. If I could tally them, take a shot every time. There's some support. I think I just want to ask now a question, and this one it's actually personal. It's not been sent, and because now it's reached a point where, guys,
selfish reasons.
I have selfish reasons. Okay, like Damini, dog. Like, how did you know? Like, how did you know this is the one for me? Because like,
how did you know that?
How did you make
we
that?
all want to know.
And because like the way you two support each other and the way you validate each other, it's just something to behold. Is there what's the specific quality, if you're to each pick one from the men's side and one from the ladies? That one quality that you know, if someone has in a relationship, that relationship will survive.
Good question. I think. To be honest, what really got us connected in the first place, and ironically, it's something she said earlier, is authenticity. Like, when I met Lydia, she was just really real. And I felt like she wasn't, the thing I used to hate about dating, I used to hate the whole dating game, but like, I used to feel like dating was really pretentious. And it's really like, how do I put my best foot forward, or how do I make you... How do I appear to be? And back to our earlier conversation, by the grace of God, I've always had that quiet confidence. So it's like, I've never felt like I need to be doing the most to do anything, because I always feel like I feel inherently valuable, if that makes any sense. So I'm not looking like for trinkets and stuff like that. And I guess when I met Lydia, like right from the get-go, like it was, I just felt she was very authentic. Like we had a real... authentic connection, and like I guess we've always been committed to each other, like right from day one. And when I say that, what I mean is like committed to each other in terms of committed to our relationship, like right from early. It even sounds silly, like maybe about a week after I met Lydia, like I was going to Barbados with one of my cousins, and I really wanted to. It's so random. I'd had like such a busy time at work, and I had these 3 days off. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'm going Barbados. Called my cousin. He was down, and I wanted to see the turtles.
You went to Barbados for 3 days. First of all, like
Yeah.
who even does that?
How long's the flight? That's like
How long is the flight?
that's not
then?
short.
I don't know, like 7 hours.
7,
That's
3
crazy.
back.
I still think
Yeah.
that that's
Yeah,
wild.
I just needed a holiday, like,
Yeah.
and the type of work I do, like, is it's really busy around my birthday, and that's always annoying. So it's like, I don't know, I just had some time, so I was like, yeah, I'm going on holiday, and yeah, it was random. I wanted to see the turtles. Long story short, I was trying to call Lydia from
The middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
not the middle, but like from the ocean. Like,
Shout
look,
out
I
to
saw the
Drake.
turtles.
Shout out to Drake.
You
Shout out
get
to
what I'm saying?
Drake,
Look, I saw the turtles. So it was like,
That's how I knew he liked me, by the way. That's the day he called me in the ocean trying to show me turtles. I was like, this man likes
Yeah,
me.
it's a wrap.
Who's calling anyone from the ocean? Like,
Yeah.
that's when I knew, like.
but it's like since then, like, you know, I wanted her to be part of that moment for want of a better term.
Yeah.
And like, I guess we've always wanted to not just share our moments, but like, the only way I can put it again is being really committed to the relationship. And it's like, you know, the relationship is what's important. So if I can do this to build the relationship, then let's do this. You get what I'm saying? Like, whether it's, I mean, in that case, it's something that we both wanted to do, but like, whether it's something that I don't particularly want to do, like, it doesn't matter if it's good for the relationship. And I guess we've always prioritized that, which has been good for us.
That's beautiful. One day, brother.
One day.
One day. My final question. Obviously, we brought you here because, you know, we love the work you do online, the community you've built. You know, there's obviously the Kenyan Connect as well. And I know that a lot of people see what you do in terms of talking about therapy, in terms of letting people into your life. Personally, I've seen you influence my sister to want to become a full-time content creator. You talked about your savings. Yeah. She's trying to do the exact same thing you did. I remember I was over from the UK during COVID, over from Nairobi during COVID, and she was like, "We have to go on this walking challenge." And I was like, "What do you mean?"
Dinga step challenge.
She was like, and that's when I was actually first introduced to you.
Yeah.
So there seems to be like a mission you're on that's a very positive one. We've talked about authenticity and honesty, but I'd like to know what the goal is for Lydia with her online career community and what she puts out there. Like, what's the goal in the world you're trying to see through the content you put out?
Honestly, it's just to inspire and to empower women. Like throughout everything I do, it's just to inspire and empower and to let them know like we actually belong in all these spaces. And I want to do that just by being me. Like literally, I was saying this and one of my vlogs recently. I had a chance to go and speak at Warwick University, and I mean. My man then topped it later by going to speak at LSE because LSE is the 4th best, Warwick is the 9th best. I'm going to trick, but he's going to trick bigger.
It's all elite.
You know?
Can you imagine being their kids?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, that's
Those
right.
kids.
And once the mom is Luo, the dad is Nigerian.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But in being there, and I remember feeling like a lot of like imposter syndrome, like a lot of like I don't belong here because I'm looking at the previous panelists and it's like Dangote, like the richest man in Africa.
Jeez.
I'm talking the previous president of Kenya. I'm talking the first lady of the Gambia. I'm like, so then and then you lot included Lydia Dinga. How? Like, why did you put me in this? But it's like showing that you can be your own success and being true to your to who you are, following your passion, following where, just being real, being myself can take me to all of the heights and same levels and spaces as presidents and the world's richest men. You know?
Yeah.
So I think if you ask me where do I want to be in 5 years, I honestly couldn't tell you. I just know that I want to be still myself. I want to still look at that stuff and be like, yeah, that's Lydia, that's me, that's authentic. I can look at my old videos. I cringe a little bit when I watch them because it's like everyone cringes a bit when they see a former self of themselves. But I'm like, no, that's still true to me. That is so me. Like I watch my videos like in the end and I'm like, that is so
Still,
me.
yeah, exactly.
Because it really is. Like no part of it is an act. No part of it is like trying to present anything. So it's just to empower and to inspire women to be great in themselves and they can achieve the things that they set out, like hard work. One thing, hard work and like planning, determination, focus. Like I just want people to know that they can chase the things that they want.
100%.
Amen.
That's beautiful.
I just wanna, as we wrap up, it's now time for me to.
You okay?
It's now time, guys. This for me, it's been an emotional roller coaster. I'm just like inspired by the both of you, and I hope that you know that Eli and I, when we started the podcast and when we thought out the concepts around Mantalk, you are the ideal.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah,
you are literally the ideal in terms of we'd see your content and go, we started from a little barber shop in Kenya. And the question was like, when will we ever get that opportunity to meet these people who are over here in London and who are all over the world and to ask them about their stories? And to be honest, I just want to thank you. I want to take this moment. You guys take in this moment. Like, I really want to thank you for celebrating your love with us and for taking the time to share your life and your stories with us. And I have personally, as a Kenyan, as I've said, I'm just so inspired by the both of you. You've changed my perspective around relationships right now in this set. And I just want to say, like, thank you for being who you are, for being responsible and strong. And thank you so much for being open and being vulnerable and for being so good at what you do. Because even now, for African women who are going to watch this and black women all across the world who support you, I'm sure that when they see you, they see a little bit of themselves.
I hope so.
Yeah. So thank you so much, guys, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having
First
us.
time in the Spotify studio.
Come on.
Come on.
Shout out to Spotify.
Shout out to you guys as well. Like,
Shout
this is amazing
out
what
to
you
you
guys
for
are
hitting us
doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so
The
much.
spaces
Man.
you're in,
Shout out to
literally.
Mandy.
Yeah. Shout out to
Shout out to
Mandy.
Mandy,
By the
Sarah.
way,
Yeah.
this connect was
Of
all through
course.
Mandy.
Shout out to Mandy.
Shout out to
Mandy
Mandy.
Sarah, the cook, if you
Yeah.
don't know already.
Yeah, we love Mandy.
Guys,
We
we're
love
coming to
Mandy.
Kenya. Let me just throw this out. I know the podcast has ended, but we're coming to Kenya.
No,
No dates.
no, please
Welcome to
do.
Kenya.
Yeah, when you land, we've got you. We've got you.
Yeah, we're coming.
We've got you.
Yeah. So we hope you've enjoyed this podcast.
Half as
As
much
we've enjoyed making
because
it.
we had a ball.
Yeah, we did. Come on.
Yeah, we did.
Come on.
What
Thanks
an
for coming,
episode.
guys. Yeah.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye.
Yeah.